Okay, so welcome. I'm honoured to be sitting so close to an Olympic gold champion. So Mark Tewksbury, Olympic gold champion. Do you want to just explain a little bit to camera about when you achieved that and what you do now?
Sure. So I won the Olympics in Barcelona in 1992. I was a 100-meter backstroker, a swimmer. I had a 16-year swimming career. I ended up actually with a gold, silver, and bronze medal at the Olympics. I have the whole set. And I actually kind of taken that experience and distilled it into high-performance traits that I teach more or less to the corporate world.
And we had the session yesterday, and the whole thing was about that commitment to betterment. Mm-hmm. And it made me realise that, you said not everybody obviously can be an Olympic gold champion, but it's just that mindset, isn't it, of always wanting to improve, always wanting to sort of move forward.
Yes.
And everybody sort of really got on board with that. You came up with all sorts of different traits because of the experiences that you had when you were becoming a champion. Had nobody written that sort of thing down before? What made you think, actually, I can transfer these learnings and make everybody's life better?
Yeah, I guess what I realized in becoming Olympic champion, that's such an elite thing. But the idea of high performance, I just really want people to understand that that's actually a democratic idea. It's accessible for everybody, because I was actually starting to live high performance traits right when I was an 8-year-old, just starting the journey, as we all can. It's just that, exactly as you noted, it's that commitment to being better tomorrow than I was today. I think that a little bit leadership is a bit like religion, in a way there's nothing new. But I think it's really important how you distill the information and how it's organized and how you lay it out. And what I'm particularly proud of what I've been able to do with my business partner, one of Canada's greatest Olympic coaches, is really kind of create a high performance pathway, really modeled after the long-term athlete development plan, where you understand certain skills need to be in place that are fundamental, and once those are there, you build on those and continue doing so. And so I think, the learning is interesting. Maybe it's not completely unique, but I think the way that we've organized it is really our own.
So I think what really came home to me yesterday was that was appropriate for the event industry was that you were talking about when innovation happens, and I think it's sort of when people collaborate, when they speak to other experts, when they sort of look at all of their stakeholders and think what can they bring to the party and how can they help in this betterment. Would you say that that's the case? You're obviously involved in the events industry too. You work with Ottawa so much. Are those the sort of the key areas that you would suggest?
You can't innovate in isolation, right? Yeah. You need to connect and collaborate and create synergies so you can solve lots of problems. And I think what's interesting about the event industry is lots of people from different parts of the industry come together. We call that a heterogeneous community. Some are event planners, some are media, some are whatever it might be. But through that diverse set of experience, often there's also a diverse set of solutions to problems that arise. And often what happens, innovation doesn't happen formally by having a session and coming up with an innovation. It happens from conversations like what we're having around a table or over a coffee in the morning, and somebody might share something they're doing and somebody goes, wow, I never thought of that. That's a great idea that I can kind of bring to my part of the industry. And voila, maybe a new way forward is found.
Yeah, it's sort of the serendipity of it almost, isn't
it? It is, yeah. Which is kind of like innovation, right? Yeah. It's kind of in the air. You can't really grab it, but when it connects, it becomes something very concrete.
And I think that's so important for PCOs when they're organising conferences, working with all the stakeholders, making sure that all comes together, but it's also important for the delegates whilst they're there, because in the association and not-for-profit side of it, they can change the world. They're coming from charities and different medical backgrounds, all sorts of different things. But it's that coming together and sharing information and having two ears maybe in one mouth that makes it so that innovation happens.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've been missing a little bit too.
Yeah.
That is where the magic, it's the coming together, and we can do that sometimes virtually and digitally, but I think the in-person space in particular for creating new ideas is more organic, and it happens just like this, just talking and sparking an idea, and it goes from there.
And acting on that, and then, as you say,
then acting on
evaluating it.
And then,
afterwards.
I mean, once you start, you can keep evolving the idea, but sometimes a nugget of idea will come out of nowhere.
I think one of the sort of the key things that you were saying yesterday as well was it's almost in your mind, isn't it? What you're saying to yourself, and rather than, oh my gosh, I can't get a gold medal. Well, why not me? Why shouldn't it be me? It's almost having that confidence, being able to put your head up and making sure that all of your ducks are in order to make sure that you can do that.
That's a very important point, though, because you have to do the work. You know, it's not just believing, because that can be kind of bravado or kind of false hope. But I think when you've put in the time and you've done the work, and you really feel like, you know, everything possible that I could do, I've done, I think then confidence can really come in. And 100% at the end of the day, to deliver, you have to believe it in your head. You have to really have that confidence to get the goods on the table.
Definitely. And I know that Ottawa's sort of strapline is here to inspire, so I could completely see why they brought you in. But how, if you had sort of, you know, one sentence to sum up how you try to inspire people, what would you say? I
would say that I try to create the environment where people can excel, where they can really bring the best of themselves to whatever they do, and to lead by example, for sure.
It certainly goes with, Adam and I were chatting before, the APCO values, excellence, learning and belonging. You know, you're all about that excellence side of it.
Yeah, I teach, so I'm a learner.
Yeah, that's it. And to learn from each other to make it so that you have achieved excellence.
You probably noticed yesterday when we were doing it, what I loved was, like, I've been doing this for 15 years, and some people taught me my own stuff back to me that I had never heard.
You just see it in a completely different way.
And that's exactly that. Like, we learn from each other, and it never really ends. And you have to be open to it too. Some people think they know it all, and I feel sorry for those people because they really lose the opportunity to keep growing and evolving.
And as you said, it's not failure. It's sort of
feedback.
Yeah, feedback. I always say first attempt in learning, but feedback and just carrying on and, as you say, evaluating and revising.
And that idea of belonging is hugely important because amongst that, you know, that heterogeneous community that comes together, it has to be inclusive. It has to make sure that people feel like they belong, because then they'll share themselves. People aren't going to share great ideas if they feel left out or excluded. So belonging is enormously important.
And you want people to share that vision, don't you?
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure and an honour to speak to you. So thank you for your time, Mark.
My pleasure. Thank you.